All right, folks, I'm gonna call the meeting to order, and we're gonna try to go into this as a slow roll, so Austin can get back here. At this time, I'll ask Anita to read the town warrant.
To either the constables of the town of Rutland and the county of Worcester, in the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town qualified to vote in elections and in town affairs to meet at the Rutland Public Library, lower level, 280 Main Street in said Rutland on Thursday, the 6th day of February 2025 at 7 o'clock in the evening, then and there to act on the following articles.
At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to stand and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so thank everybody for coming out tonight for this special town meeting. And everybody has a clicker in front of us, and we're gonna do a test. This is a little bit cozy. I don't need to have my backside to you guys either, but.
Okay.
We're gonna do, once, Ben is ready, we're gonna do a, test on it, and it will actually, we're gonna do a 2/3 vote. And just test the 2/3 of it, because the article that's before us needs to be for 2/3 tonight as well. All those that agree that it was a good decision to have a meeting tonight and don't think I'm a really bad guy.
I thought you wanted 2/3, Randy.
It's okay if we go the other. It's okay if it fails too, right?
Oh, okay.
Right, so, all those that thought it was a good idea that I had a meeting tonight, please vote yes. All those things that I am a total donkey, please vote no, and that's the red button.
Now that you put it down, neutral.
I'm torn.
3C.
Unanimous.
By
Yeah.
unanimous consent.
You brought that on yourself.
All those voted who wish. We have a number that's close to where we were, yes. All those who would ballot who wish, I declare the ballot box closed. Well, now that is interesting. Now this is, there are 30 yes, there are 15 no's. Even though it's,
It's exactly 2/3.
I thought I was gonna have to break the tie for myself. I was just gonna let you know how it went, so. All right, so that worked. Let's do one more test article. All those that think the Bruins is gonna win their next game, please vote yes. All those that think the Bruins are gonna lose their next game, please vote no. Are you ready? Oh, please wait. We're in a technical difficulty. All those who vote, please vote at this time.
Well, does it matter lately?
Let's say the New York Rangers.
That was last night. It doesn't matter.
All those voted who wish, declare the ballot box closed. Bruins are gonna win. Motion carries with 27 yeses, 20 noes. All right, folks, so we believe most of our, or all of our clickers are working in front of us. As I stated, you're gonna come up to the podium there and speak loud and clearly. You gotta state your name and address if you choose to speak and come up and do that. So, Article 1, to see if the town will vote to amend Article 12, the marijuana establishment, subsection 89, restriction and prohibitions of the town of Rutland zoning bylaw by deleting the strike-through text, that's cross-through, and inserting the bold text as the follows. Number 1, subsection 89.b, there shall be no more than 5 special permits issued for LEME in the town of Rutland at any given time, provided, however, that there is a provision shall not apply to retail LMEs, which LMEs are subject to subsection, which is striked 88, and bold print is 89.C. Number 2, subsection 89C, the number of special permits for the retail LMEs shall be limited to 2, which is bold, 2 in parentheses, bold, which number is equal to or not more than,
Or just more than.
or
More than, not
more than, that's the end of bold, 20% of the number of licenses issued within the town for the retail sale of alcohol beverages not to be drunk on the premises where sold under MGLC 138. And then it's, there's a line through this part that I'm gonna read now. For the purpose of determining this number, any fraction shall be rounded up to the next highest whole number. Or taken, that's the end of what is being, a strike through, or take any action in relation thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to approve Article 1 as printed in the warrant.
Does this motion should receive support?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Recommendation of the finance board.
Finance Committee recommends favorable action on this.
Recommendation of the planning board.
Mr. Moderator, the planning board recommends unfavorable action on this article.
Is there any discussion on this article? Is there any discussion on this article?
Ian Whitman, 208 East County Road, Select Board Chair. This article, or similar, very similar article was at this fall town meeting. We understand there's a lot of frustration about the process. There are missteps all along the way. We're not here to debate the process, we're here to debate the article. And this is the article that Select Board and Planning Board worked together to bring forward as a town-sponsored article rather than having a petitioner go through, call a special town meeting that could potentially result in some more scheduling challenges for us. That aside, I think this article, we already have allow 5, the current bylaw allows 5 marijuana establishments in town. What we're asking for through this article is to increase the number of retail from 1 to 2. So if that 5 is staying, we're just asking, hey, of that 5, can we add one, have the opportunity to add one more retail? Not, it's not a guarantee, it still has to go through the special permitting process through planning board. There's nothing that, none of that physical zoning is changing. It still has to go through the CCC, the Cannabis Control Commission. The perk of a retail establishment is that the town would receive 3% tax revenue on the gross sales there. And so that's a benefit to the town, as well as having any sort of property development and increase in property value could result in more tax revenue, property tax revenue. We know, we've been having budget conversations, taking the school budgets out of it, that the town is still in a structural deficit. Something like this is not going to solve our structural deficit, it's not going to solve any of our financial problems. However, it's going to provide an additional opportunity for economic development. We hear again and again and again that we need more economic development. We already allow 5 establishments in town. We're asking to allow one more of those 5 to have the opportunity to be retail. It's again, not a guarantee. Thank you.
Peter Paceherb, 20 Highland Park Road. Some of you may recall a meeting 5 years ago in this very room where we discussed the original article. It's toward the end of that meeting. Many had left. We were, as I recall, down to fewer than 50. I stood up and spoke against the issue. I'm back to speak against it again. My plea to you is to think carefully. Our town is primarily composed of what kind of residences? Single family. We want to attract people to fill those single family houses. The town must cater to those who will most likely purchase them. Do we really want to live in a town with not just one but two marijuana establishments? Is a little extra tax revenue the thing we value most at the expense of a family-friendly atmosphere that this town has enjoyed for so long? A second marijuana shop might make more sense in a larger town with a much younger population perhaps, but not like Rutland with so many families. I, for one, would rather pay a little extra in my property tax, like I am right now, and keep the character of the town that we have left. Think also of the cost of extra law enforcement. There are better ways, I believe, to grow our tax base. And I ask you to join me and vote no on this article for the families of Rutland.
Is there any other discussion on this article?
Sherry Haber, 1 Olivia Lane. When we voted on this in November and it was voted down, the planning board had brought forward that motion before there was hearing on the subject. So now the planning board has had the hearing on the subject and they're voting unfavorably, and I'd like to know through the moderator why.
Planning board chair, would you like to come to the podium and answer the question to the best of your ability?
Okay, I'm not saying I can speak for everybody on the planning board, but this kind of echoes, at least I believe, a majority of the planning board in their feelings. That this same article was brought to the town meeting back in November. It was voted down. We felt the people of the town had spoken for what they wanted. It just, in my opinion, it almost invalidates that meeting to bring it back again. People spoke. I'll let any other member of the planning board come to speak if they want to address how they feel about it.
Other members of the planning board choose to make a comment? State your name and address, please, for the town clerk.
Tim Narwhal, 149 Palmagussit Road. I echo what Norm said. We had a open hearing at our facility, or over our meeting. We had constituents there that specifically said that we voted on this at town meeting, we said no. Why is it coming back? It's the identical same wording and the identical same article. And I echo Norm's comments that the constituent doesn't want it. That's who elected me, and that's who I'm going to support.
Brendan Bradford, 39 Bigelow Road, also a member of the planning board. I'll say the same thing 3 times, but that was how I felt about it. We voted on this, the town voted on this 2.5 months ago, and we're bringing the exact same item forward again to sort of create a situation where it felt like to me we're forcing it down the town's throat when they already said no. So that's where I stand with that.
Is there any other planning board members that choose to comment?
Jen Ledger, Joanna Drive. I just wanted to point out that while I understand the planning board is recommending unfavorable because of the past vote, we have brought other articles forward. Take street acceptance, for example. Maybe something wasn't favorably recommended because it wasn't completed at the time. That doesn't mean you don't bring it back forward again for a future meeting when it might be more the time. The discussion centering around the fact that it was voted down at town meeting, understood, but that doesn't change the fact that the original article from fall town meeting was voted favorably on the basis of it could be beneficial to town economically or whatever it might be. That piece hasn't changed. And I also wanted to note that while it did technically fail at town meeting, it was a 60 yes and a 34 no. So there was still, even though it wasn't 2/3, a majority of the people that were there did vote in favor.
So if there's no objection, the gentleman that is in favor of this particular article would like to speak. He is not a resident of Rutland. If you as the body as a, find it acceptable for him to speak, I will allow him to speak. If the majority doesn't think he's able to speak, then he doesn't have the ability to speak. So we'll do a vote, just so it's unanimous. You are going to do a random vote here? No. All those that would like to allow a non-resident to speak on this subject, please vote yes. All those that want not to allow the non-resident to speak, please vote no. And this is just a majority vote, please. Just trying to be diplomatic, folks. That's all I'm trying to do. I declare the ballot closed. You are welcome to speak. 29 yeses, 19 noes.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Just keep it brief, please.
Yes, sir. I just want to say good evening to everybody up front, behind me. Basically, long story short, I grew up in Leominster. I'm a real estate agent, fix properties up. I purchased 204 Barry Paxton Road a little over 2 years ago. For those 2 years, kind of dealt with tenant problems, and in that process, we kind of looked into what can I do with this property. Now, in my search, we found out that it was inside a zone that allowed for a retail marijuana dispensary, and then we also found that there was 3 allowable spaces, zones for the town in the town bylaw that would allow for a dispensary. So then, in doing my research, we found out that there was already the 1 store in process, and the bylaw only allowed for 1 license, but there was 3 zones. So basically what I tried to figure out was, I have a property inside a zone that is written in the town rules, and I was basically trying to figure out what I could do in order to try to do something like that. I have experience in the space. I've ran a dispensary for about 9 months for a friend of mine in East Boston, and that basically I feel super confident in myself that I could do the store and do it at a high level that would be a value add for the town. Doing this for you guys, it would do a couple different things. It would help revitalize the village center district. I'm in the process of talking to a couple other people around that property, and I would like to buy more properties in the area. Kind of depends on how this goes, what I do moving forward. Another thing it'll do for the town is it's gonna increase and bring additional jobs. So there'll probably be anywhere from 10 to 25 part-time, full-time jobs for the local community. And it's also gonna increase options and convenience for the people that are consumers of the product, and considering the fact that there's already 1 store here, there's obviously some sort of a use for that type of thing. So basically what it would do is, for the customers, it would allow another choice and another convenience for them. And most importantly for the town, it would increase and basically in this business, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's the only business, this is the only business where the town can actually get a revenue share of this business. Meaning, if you had a coffee shop or another restaurant or say a car dealership, the town itself can't actually get revenue based on the sales. But for this business in particular, the town would actually get 3% of the total revenue. So if we sold X amount of product, the town would get X amount in taxes, if that makes sense. I also basically, I'm 33 years old. I have a lot of money tied up in this property, time, effort, and energy. I went out and I got 160 signatures. I went to maybe, I'm not sure on the exact number, but maybe 10 to 12 board meetings. I basically came to every single meeting except for last week. I had a prior engagement for one of my businesses, and basically I had my whole life savings tied up in this property. So essentially there was a point where 3-4 months ago the lender tried to kind of take the property on a technicality. So at one point 3-4 months ago, I thought there was a possibility that I might sleep in my truck this winter. And then we, since then, have figured out that loan, and now I have a new long-term loan on the property. And basically, I'm just hoping that it moves forward so that, like, I'm not looking to waste anybody's time. I'm trying to be a value add to the town. We like to redo that whole corridor, and it seems like some people in town would be interested in seeing that part of the town get renovated, and that would probably be the first piece of that process to happen. I basically just want to leave you with this before you guys vote. Think about if I was a friend of yours, or a brother, or a cousin, or a son, or a nephew, or a grandson, and I have all my money tied up in this place. I'm 33 years old, I'm trying to bring a business to the town, and it all kind of rides on your vote. So before you vote, I just wanted to say I appreciate everybody's time, and just want to say thank you for everybody coming out and voting, whichever way you do vote. But if you could vote yes for me, it would really mean a lot. And I just want to say thank you, Mr. Jordan, for giving me the time to speak to everybody. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody. So.
Is there any other discussion on this article? Just a minute, there's a woman coming from behind you, and then you can speak after that.
I just have a quick question. Could somebody clarify where is this location? I'm sorry, I was a few minutes late getting here, but where is it located?
So we're not voting on a location tonight, we're voting on whether we have one license in town or 2 licenses in the town. This gentleman has bought a piece of property on 122, between Four Corners and Paxton, that town over there.
It's currently Mal's Auto, the property.
That rings a bell for people. Between Four Corners and Lads, I would say.
Right, yeah.
Michelle Campbell, Lord Lane. I would like to just say that I completely disagree with the gentleman that spoke earlier. I think he completely misunderstands the clientele that visits a marijuana dispensary. The town is filled with older people, and I know a big chunk of those people use those products. A lot of family people use them. They're less violent than alcohol. We have loads of alcohol establishments. You know, there's just a misconception about what the product is and what the people that use it, and I think it's completely appropriate. If somebody said, let's have a brew pub, and any weekend you go to Seven Saws and it's filled with families with children, you can't say that, you know, this is any different. People use products that are gonna use a product. It's not your job or my job to say they can't use the product that they want, or that it's not a family-friendly establishment. We need the businesses in town. It brings people in town. It brings people through our town, and when people are coming through our town, they see what our town has to offer. And so, any business is a good business in town, and I would just like to, you know, just please vote yes for it, because I think we can use all the business we can, and I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion?
Vice chairman of the, well, I got a question. Is the finance committee member, I have to go there?
Are you asking on the finance committee?
Yes, I am.
State your name and address, please.
Darren Ross, 5 Rufus Putnam Lane in Rutland. Thank you for saying in my driveway the other day. We have in our employee, a town planner. And being on the finance committee, I respect him. I'd like to hear his opinion of this. Can we, through you, ask his opinion? We pay for the town planner. I'd love to hear what he has to say. Is that a question that the finance committee can ask?
So he's a non-resident, but that could be my decision where he's a town resident. John, please step forward and talk to Mr. Ross, please.
John Chapman, town planner. Now, it's not my job to tell this body how to vote or what to decide. It's not my job to tell the planning board how to vote either. It's my job to present information, my professional opinion on things, and then let the body vote as it will. I do agree with what's been said here tonight, in the fact that I had a chance to tour the facility that is open on Main Street, and I've never been a user of these products, don't know if I ever will be. However, I have been in a situation where I have been to the emergency room and been almost forced to take prescriptions that were potentially addictive for no reason. So I can see why people would go for alternative options that are potentially less harmful. Visit this facility. It is very structured. It is very controlled. It is very secure. I never knew anything about these facilities until I went on this tour a few months ago. And the security there is very high. It's very nice. I encourage anyone to visit. Now, I happen to be in the town of Rainham when medical marijuana overlay districts were first implemented. And there were a lot of questions then, because when these first opened, you couldn't use debit cards, you couldn't use credit cards, you had to bring cash. So the concern was for security that people with illnesses, vulnerable people would have to be carrying large amounts of cash to these facilities, and that would make them vulnerable to have crimes committed. That has changed. And this facility has an ATM machine right inside, so they have done measures over the past, whatever it is, 8 or 10 years, or actually, yeah, about 12 years since then, to make these facilities safer. So, in my opinion, I live in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. I drive all the time and see people walking down the streets with 30 cases of beer, 6 packs of beer. Somehow that's not a problem. So I think there is a misconception out there. You know, I've had people come to my office and say, "Hey, how about, you know, what's up with the pot shop?" In my opinion, professional and personal, that's a very simplistic description of it, having visited these facilities. And I can't say it's something I won't consider as I advance in age and start having medical issues. It's something that I would definitely consider. So, and I agree with the economic development component. Is it gonna bring in a lot of revenue? No. But having been here for 15 months and seeing the challenges of trying to get any type of commercial development in this town, I would ask this body, if not this facility, then what facility? If not this business, then what business would be acceptable? And as been stated previously at the previous town meeting and public hearings, this simply allows this gentleman to submit an application for a special permit to the planning board, which would have to go through another public hearing process to have this project approved, have a site plan approved. The process is not over tonight. It just simply allows this gentleman the opportunity to bring an application forward. So that's basically all I have to say on that. Again, those are just my professional and personal opinions, and I'm not telling anybody how to vote.
Is there any other discussion on this article? Any other discussion on this? John, you're welcome to back to your seat. Don't go home.
Ludwig Haber, 1 Olivia. I just wanna, I hear the, vote the process, right? We voted this down once, but there was no discussion, right? If I was standing here and I told you, I know exactly why I voted no this last town meeting. I just wasn't sure what it was for, and before I knew to even ask a question, the vote was up, right? That's how I felt, and that's why I voted no. So now we heard a lot more tonight, and for the future reference, right? Just hearing recommendation favorable, that's important, but understanding why is also important. And maybe we could figure that in future town meetings, especially when the wording is, difficult, all right? So just take a fresh look, all right? And I, speaking for myself, I think it's a good idea.
Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. You're now ready to proceed to vote. This is a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of Article 1, please use the green button. All those opposed, please use the red button.
Gotcha.
All those voted who wish, Declare the ballot box closed. There are 25 yeses, 23 noes. Motion is defeated.
It's 2/3, so yeah.
Motion is defeated. Is there any other business to come before us at this time?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Second. Motion was made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, thank everybody for coming. Please be very careful on the sidewalks and walking out of here.
Get these back to Ben, we don't wanna fight.
Oh yeah, don't.
Basket on the table to put the clickers in.
We're still missing one from like 2.5 meetings ago. Thank you.